for Barage Brewery. And Matt, if you would read that, please.
Town of Wheatfield, notice of public hearing. Please take notice that a public hearing will be held by the Wheatfield Town Board at the Wheatfield Town Hall, 2800 Church Road, Wheatfield, New York, 14120, on the 4th day of November, 2019 at 7 o'clock p.m. local time to hear citizens' comments regarding the community development, economic development, and housing needs of the town of Wheatfield and the town's potential submission of an application to the New York State Office of Community Renewal for a community development block grant funding to support the development of a restaurant with on-site brewing operations located at 2469 Niagara Road in the town. More detailed information regarding the project will be presented at the hearing. The aforesaid public hearing has been directed to be held pursuant to a resolution of the Wheatfield Town Board, duly adopted at a meeting of the board on the 21st day of October 2019.
Chuck, would these people like to, the people from Barage Brewery like to make a presentation? Maybe introduce yourselves and a brief description and presentation of what your intentions are?
That would be great. My name is Chuck Bell, and I'm helping with the application process. I just wanted to kind of give a quick word on process before turning it over to Jimmy Soliday and Jeremy Hogan, who are the actual entrepreneurs behind Barage Brewing. But in order for the business or any economic development project in this area to receive funding through the New York State Office of Community Renewal, they actually have to petition the municipality to apply on their behalf. As a part of that, there is always a public hearing so that any comment can be recorded and submitted along with the application that would be sent on to the state if the town so chose to do so. We've seen this in the last couple of years with Jacob's Ladder when they moved to the town and expanded, and that was grant funding that was awarded, a project that was completed, and a grant that was closed out with the state. The end result was that the business received a deferred loan, which is essentially it turns into a grant once they do everything they say they're going to do, and a loan. Both of those came from state funds that were then went through the town, the Wheatfield Local Development Corporation, and then to the business. And then the business repays that loan to the Wheatfield LDC so they can use it for economic development within the town, other initiatives. More recently, Pelicanos, the Pelicanos project was awarded funding. That funding has not been dispersed yet as it goes towards equipment. The hiring is already underway, even though they're not in their new location yet. But that is another one that seems to be going very well so far in the same model. So this would be potentially the third time that the town of Wheatfield has looked at this funding, and it is for Barage Brewing. And I would just turn it over to Jeremy and Jimmy if they want to say a few things.
I'm Jeremy Hogan, and my partner Jimmy Soliday, founders of Barage Brewing Company. We were looking for a location to do a brewery operation in Western New York. We're both from the area, and the opportunity to purchase the meeting place, which is in Bergholz, across from the current fire department, which itself used to be the fire hall, was kind of an underutilized location, and the opportunity to pick that up presented itself. What we plan to do with the place is the main building on the east side, for those familiar with it, is already a bar and restaurant downstairs, the interior of which cosmetically hasn't really had much done to it in the last probably 20 years. So there's going to be some cosmetic facelift to the inside. The outside is similarly dated, and so the work on that would be mostly cosmetic. There's a great space upstairs there, about 3,600 square feet. You could literally play basketball inside the thing. We think would be a good wedding venue. We've both recently, in the last couple of years, been married and trying to find a wedding venue that can hold 150 people in a setting like Bergholz that's as close and accessible to the city. Is just a rare find. Yeah, and to the west is the original engine house, which is completely unused right now, so we would say that was good and underutilized. And the downstairs there is 1,700 square feet wide open. That would be the brewing operation, which is small scale, so that we can do small batches. and the upstairs will determine the use of that space as well. But that needs a facelift, and we'll be going to the planning board with our plans there. One of the things we'd like to present is to restore, and you can see in the drawing what it used to look like with the old bell tower. Obviously, it wouldn't be functional because it's not a fire department, but cosmetically, it would look the same as it did historically. We think it'll generate probably 21 full-time equivalent jobs once it's up and running full. Obviously, rezoning that other building for the extra square footage will put some more property tax dollars into the town budget. And so not only is it a great location for us, we think it'll be a great opportunity for the local community.
Any comments, gents, here?
Yes, that's right. The grant award, the amount that a company is available for is based on both jobs, no more than $15,000 per full-time year-round job created or full-time equivalent, and also tied into the amount of other investment. That can't be more than a certain percentage of the project. So we have that information, and that would be part of the application that goes in and would be on record.
One more question while you're standing there. Am I correct that the Wheatfield LDC is allowed, 2 concurrent applications, or wasn't there a number? I thought it was 2.
So there's no hard and fast rule from the state, but we've always kind of been given that guidance that you don't want to have more.
I've heard the number 2, but I don't know if that's the real number.
Yeah, and that was a question that we ended up asking the state, asking the head of economic development for the Office of Community Renewal, because we didn't want to get into a situation where you apply for one project and then another one comes down the road and they can't apply.
Yeah.
They said because the guidance that they gave was close out the Jacob's Ladder grant, which was done.
Okay.
Close that contract out, and then you're fine. You're not up against it right now. There's no hard and fast rule. You could come back in with another project as long as it was a good one that created jobs and created investment. So that was kind of a relief to know that we have some flexibility and could go back in for another good project if it came down the pipeline.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. If anyone has any comments, fellows, if you would sit down, if they have any questions for you, they can maybe address them. Anybody has any comments or questions, please come forward to the microphone and place your questions, and we'll do the best to answer the questions. Man, if you would just maybe give in brief what the purpose of this is tonight. It's not an approval as such. It's still going to the planning board. But Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, to clarify, and any of the Chuck or anybody else here, let me know if I'm getting it wrong. But basically, this is a sponsorship by the town to go forward with a grant application. In no way are we going through a site plan approval, zoning variance at this point. That's all something that will come down the road, assuming a grant is given from the state, or even if the grant is not given from the state, if the applicant chooses to do it on their own with alternate financing. But this is simply the town giving its blessing, so to speak, that these folks to apply for the grant, and then if they apply, it's up to the state if they get it, and then if they do get it, move forward. They still have to move forward, get site plan, go all the things. If they fail in any of those steps, regardless of whether they obtain a grant, it may not happen. So this is really just the town authorizing the application for a grant. It's in no way approving anything further than that, just if community members are concerned that all of a sudden you're going to have a big operation. Everything would have to go through site plan, zoning approval, through different boards. So.
Clear? Okay, thank you. Any comments or questions? Motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
The motion